independence. The marchers joined hundreds of others attending a mass in a Catholic church to protest continued violence. Many hoisted pictures of Mother Teresa, a native.
CNN's Richard Blystone has the latest on efforts to bring peace.
In a day of shuttling, a pause for an overall no progress report.
So where are we? Well, we're where we were earlier today. Yesterday. Extremely serious situation, and there's no change there.
The U.S. envoy spoke after meeting ethnic Albanian leader Ibrahim Rugova. The main issue here, the key international goal of getting talks started. And that means getting the majority Albanians to accept the prospect of less than total Kosovo independence. Holbrooke praised the president of the self-declared Republic of Kosovo.
He continues to represent an important, moderate leadership in a situation where all sides increasingly have resorted to violence.
But he gave no details of the talks. The Albanian leader told CNN Friday he still wants independence. With an international protectorate as an interim stage, something that would let Kosovo be demilitarized and create a climate for negotiation. But there's little world backing for that, and the Allies favor Kosovo autonomy. It's critical to have both airstrikes and NATO ground troops here, Rugova said, but there too he gets no support. One sure benefit of Holbrooke's diplomatic marathon, a United Nations aid convoy that was expected to be canceled, headed south from Pristina. Blankets, food, and soap for 15,000 to 16,000 refugees in and around Uroševac. Aid workers acutely aware that NATO airstrikes, if they happen, would interrupt the lifeline for nobody knows how long.
It's difficult for us at the political level to understand what's going on, so we're just trying to hope. We're hoping that something will be resolved in the next day or two.
In this area, most aid recipients are living with host families. But elsewhere, the agencies fear for what they believe may be tens of thousands still in need of warm shelter for winter. Every day that the talking goes on is another day to try to provide for the unknown. And that goes not only for the international agencies. Pristina shows little sign of panic hoarding of supplies, but both ethnic Serbs and ethnic Albanians have been thinking about what bombing would mean. Change from the ethnic line on the Albanian side either. Yes, he's afraid of a backlash, he says, but the Serbs will kill us anyway, and they can't do more than that.
This kind of action that you're seeing now, because he wants to redraw the map of the Balkans to his suiting. Now, why is that? Well, because he wants to control everything. He controls the media. I mean, he apparently controls the message that Danielle is giving us, because many Serbs are saying that. They're getting this message from a state-run agency called Tanjug, from their people.
Is that right, Danielle? Is that where you're getting your point of view?
Well, look, you know, Mr. Dugardi is completely trying to emotionalize this whole issue. The question is, Kosovo should stay part of Yugoslavia. It's in Serbian land. It's their Jerusalem. Albanians should have the right to live there along with Serbia. But you cannot form a greater Albania by attaching Kosovo with these KLA terrorists at the head to Albania. That's when the problem started. And that's what we have to get back to. The problem, as you said, Charles, with negotiations is, yes, we got to some point. Autonomy, I think that's a good idea, and that's the starting point. But what the Yugoslav government didn't want is U.S. troops in Kosovo. And frankly, I don't think Americans should want that. I think that would be a meddlesome and a wrong thing to do.
Danielle, do you believe that the Serbs have any responsibility in this refugee tragedy that's taking place right now?
Well, partially we have to figure out who is doing what to the Albanians there. I'm sure some of these claims are true. I'm sure some of them cannot be corroborated. But the other thing you have to keep in mind is...
Who do you think is driving these hundreds of thousands of people out of Kosovo?
Well, primarily fear, because ever since NATO started bombing, you also had some Albanian villages bombed. The other thing that I think the Yugoslav government
you think that they're all just making up these stories as people are coming to their house and ordering them to leave?
No, I don't think they're making up stories. Some of it may be. But I think you have to understand that currently the Yugoslav government is engaged in trying to get the KLA to disarm them, to disband them. And in the past, the Albanian civilians behind which the KLA was hiding would get hurt. And in a way, they wanted to get the civilians out of the way so they could get at the KLA, disarm these terrorists, and then have the Albanians return. And I think you'll see that happen when the war's over.
15 seconds.
Yeah, let me say this. the KLA has never been put on a list as a terrorist organization. We faced Gelbart off in a hearing, and he backed right off when he mistakenly used that. And as far as Jerusalem, Kosovo being there, Jerusalem, the Illyrians, the Albanians have been there for 10,000 years. The Serbs came there in the 6th century A.D. This has always been Albanian land.
All right, we have to go to a break, but to go to Kelly O'Donnell, get a news update. We come back and find out, is there bombing right now in Belgrade, or why isn't there? Be right back.
Get up-to-the-minute information on the crisis in Kosovo on MSNBC.com. At home or at work, live audio and video when you need it most on MSN.
Let's go to Kelly O'Donnell, the MSNBC News Desk, and get the latest on what's going on. Kelly?
Good evening, everyone. On day 11 of the war with Yugoslavia, humanitarian crisis along Kosovo's borders is only getting worse tonight. Food and supplies are now coming in from around the world, but relief workers are still overwhelmed by the number of people needing help. NBC's Kevin Tibbles is in Albania tonight, where most of the refugees have gone.
There are some 90,000 refugees at the border here in Tirana, the capital city of which I'm speaking to you from. There are some 30,000. About 5,000 people have been billeted into local homes here. The Albanian people themselves are looking towards Kosovo and seeing this exodus, if you can describe it any other way, coming towards them, and they're doing their utmost to help these people out, primarily because they're from the same ethnic group, they share the same culture, and these people have a tremendous affinity for the people of Kosovo. The problem is, of course, that Albania is one of the poorest nations in the world. It's a tiny country. It has absolutely no infrastructure and no sort of setup for any sort of international humanitarian aid. They're doing their best, but to be absolutely honest with you, this place will collapse in a very short period of time if the international aid does not start pouring in here very soon.
That was Kevin Tibbles reporting. A day after NATO's vicious assault on downtown Belgrade, more American firepower is heading into action. The Pentagon says the aircraft carrier USS Roosevelt and its battle group will be taking up positions in the Adriatic. The Roosevelt brings 75 more jets to the area. The 3 ships and 1 submarine also bringing another way to launch Tomahawk cruise missiles. The group should be in place by Monday.